They told us to give a disclaimer. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the podcasters, any guests, and do not reflect any of the management, owners, sponsorships, or employees of thereof. Pretty much, if you're soft, don't listen to this podcast. One thing I pride myself on is just being the same and trying to look out for my folks along the way.
Like, even with all these, big things happening, like, you still mad humble, and you still, like, you have enough clout now where you could easily be like, I'm not fucking with this, I'm not fucking with that.
Oh yeah, motherfuckers, it's on. Unrestricted Podcast listeners, thank you so much for clicking play. Because of you, those numbers are going up, up, and up. And I gotta throw a big shout out to my good friends over at Stay Verity. They gave me a nice little hat. You can see the banner right behind Mike Jones. And speaking of Mike Jones, I got him in the building. Your number 3 pound for pound Utah men's per tapology.
Per tapology, yeah. Yeah, who they got in front of me? Carson and some other guy that only fought one time?
Yeah.
Come on, man, I'm number one.
Number one, pound for
one.
pound in the FFC pound for pound rankings. 11-7 pro record per tapology again. Everybody gets a little upset when I say per tapology, but it's true. Like it's kind of varies,
Yeah, that's my record. That's my pro record is 11-7. Yeah.
There he is, the Utah vet, pro middleweight champion of FFC, Mike Jones is in the building. When you hear Utah vet, do you feel like that's accurate? Do you feel like that's like, do you feel, I don't want to say weathered, but do you feel like you've been in this thing for a while?
Yeah, like I've been fighting since 2010, 2011. Tapology doesn't show my first amateur fights. I think they show like 2012 maybe. But I actually did a couple amateur fights up in Wyoming in 2000. It had to been like end of 2010, first part of 2011, something like that. I can't remember the exact dates, but yeah, I fought up there. It don't show up for some reason. I don't know. It was unsanctioned fights, like it was back in the day, and then I did one in Colorado that doesn't show up on there as well. So I actually was 6-0 as an amateur. It shows like 3-0, but I actually had 6 amateur fights. So
wow, man. You're weathered, man.
Yeah, I've been around for a long time. My body's starting to feel it. I get like 34 years old. I'm like, joints hurt. And yeah.
You are you from Utah?
Yeah.
Born and raised?
Yeah. You know where Emory County's at?
Have no idea.
So you know where Price is at?
Is that central Utah?
It's kind of central, yeah. So it's like we're about an hour and a half from Spanish Fork, like south of there. Just small coal mining community. So I actually grew up like half hour, 45 minutes south of there.
Oh, okay.
Small town. Like we didn't even have a stoplight in the county I grew up in.
Wow.
And they have one now, but when I grew up, there was no stoplights in the whole county.
Wow.
400 and something kids in my high school. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
What was the household like? What was the family like?
Man, great. Like my mom and dad's awesome. Like we live in the middle of nowhere. Like we grew up 3 miles out of town each way, had 10 acres and just kind of like that. Yeah. We had nothing. It was just.
Are you a single child? Solo child?
No, I have a older brother and a younger sister.
How was that growing up with the older brother, younger sister? You're the middle child. You dead in the middle.
Yeah, it was good. And then my brother was adopted, and so he had to have been in like middle school probably when he came into our lives. And yeah, it was good. Yeah, we had a good upbringing.
Were you an outdoor kid?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we was out there BMX bikes. Like I remember out there being like little kid out there shoveling, building jumps because we just want to be like this BMX guy watching X Games and stuff. Like we're gonna be a BMX star. Like try to do backflips and stuff. Like
Dave Mira was my guy.
Dave Mira, yeah. We used his little video game. We used to play that. Yeah.
My favorite.
Yep.
We're about the same. I'm just a year older than you, so we pretty much grew up in the same type of era. Dave Mira, Matt Hoffman.
Yeah, I had Dan's Comp magazines all over my bedroom. Like.
Was that your favorite rider?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same here. Did you do vert? Did you do street?
No, mostly just like dirt stuff. Yeah.
Did you ever make your way to an actual skate park?
No. Oh, it's skate parks. Yeah, we had a skate park in Castledale, Utah.
Even all the cities I don't know.
Castledale. Yeah, so small town. We had this little skate park there, and there was one in Price too that we would go hit up every now and then.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Was Dad in a coal miner?
My dad actually works for the state of Utah. He worked for juvenile justice, so like the detention centers so he's a counselor for kids. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Is that kind of how your stepbrother came into, or not stepbrother, your brother came into play?
Yeah, my parents did foster care growing up. So I had multiple like people coming in and living with us, like foster kids, and then my brother was one. He actually is from New York, and then he came in, and then my parents ended up adopting him.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Did that change like anything with you and your parents? Did you ever feel any type of like jealousy or anything like that?
No.
Having all these kids and their attention to these different kids?
No. Yeah, my parents are like superstars, dude. They just take care of everybody. They treat everyone the same. Like they're the people that'll give their shirt off their back. Like even though they have nothing, you know.
Yeah.
And then my brother, he's cool as shit. He's just a cool dude. Yeah, he awesome. Fit right in. Like he's got red hair like me. People, you can't even tell. People think we're brothers, you know. Like they're like, man, they would never know that we're not.
Yeah.
Like biological, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that that dynamic of like creating a family is really dope. You've been a father. Is it since 13 years or is this your oldest?
Yeah,
sorry, his daughter's in the studio right now.
Yeah.
She's shy. She don't want to come in camera, even though I just found out she's actually a badass.
Yeah. She's 13. She's my oldest. I think I was 20 years old whenever we had her. So,
how was that? How'd you feel becoming a father?
Yeah, it was. We had some. Back then, we was going down a rough path for a little while, and then, it was my ex-wife. Mm-hmm. Got pregnant with her, and that changed everything. I was like, oh man, I gotta support another human being. Like everything changed my life around. Started fighting, and
where were you at in life at that point? Are you still maturing?
Yeah, I was still maturing. Like I was, out partying, doing the thing, and as soon as she got pregnant, we ended up moving to Wyoming. Started working at a coal mine. We grew up a lot whenever she was born.
Yeah. So. It's a scary moment, but it's a moment where it's like, you got no excuses, bro. Yeah. If you want to be a father, you know what I mean? And there's plenty of, I don't hate to be so harsh, but there's plenty of deadbeats out there. The hard thing is to be like, I got to do this. Like, there's no option. Like, I have to do this, you know? Your parents were a great example for you, so Absolutely. Now you have to be a great example for the next one.
Absolutely. I feel like in life, like, you have, like, you want to look up to your parents, or you're gonna parent how your parents parented you, or you're going to do the complete opposite, right? Like, and with my parents, like, I'm going to do exactly how they parented me. So it was like, I had a great example to go off of.
Heavy wears the crown, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So how many kids do you have in total?
4.
4 kids.
Yep, I got 3 kids with my ex-wife, and then we have an 11-month-old with my wife now.
Nice, man. Yeah. So 11 months, boy, girl?
Girl. So I got 3 girls and 1 boy. She's 13, my boy is 10, and then my other daughter, she is 5, and then we got the 11-month-old daughter.
Dang, man. How is it being a father that's also loves violence and does this thing where you're getting punched in the face, you're punching people in the face? I mean, you don't really get punched in the face too much.
Yeah. I work on that defense. I don't like getting hit. Them gun fighters, I love getting hit. They lie. Yeah. That shit sucks, dude.
That's just
that shit sucks, man. I'm trying to hit and not get hit, you know?
Yeah. Man, we'll talk about the latest fight, but after seeing Hatch's last fight, I was like, that doesn't look like fun. Like, Sunday after, man, I know he was hurting.
Man, I seen him right after the fight, and he was like, hey, we're going over to the Redemption Bar for after party and stuff, and, man, both of his eyes were swollen shut. I was like, man, you should probably go to bed, man. You probably got a concussion. Like, I'm going to bed after something like that. Yeah.
So being a father, though, how do you go through with fighting and knowing that you got kids looking at this and they're worried about you, I'm assuming? And,
oh, yeah.
Like, how does that make you feel?
I just try to be an example. Like, it's all my kids, they play sports. Like, they're all, like, Aaliyah, she's way into softball. So she's playing like 3 different leagues at a time. She's doing traveling teams. She wrestles for the middle school. She's done jiu-jitsu competitions. My boy's done competitions. He wrestles, jiu-jitsu, plays football, all that stuff. So I feel like they understand, like, it's a competition. It's an athletic competition. We're going out there. It's a fist fight. Yeah, don't get me wrong. We're out there fighting each other, but at the same time, it's still a competition. So I feel like they understand it. I'm sure they're nervous when I'm fighting and everything, but I just try to lead by example and, just go out there and win or lose. Like we're gonna compete, and we're just, I don't know how to put it, but I'm trying to be an example for them. Like, hey, like win or lose, we're gonna just go out here and do our thing and compete.
Now, when Aaliyah wins her wrestling match, does she get up and she flips off her opponent?
No.
Daddy did it.
I didn't. Hey, I never flipped nobody off.
I seen it. Don't lie, Mike.
I yelled at. You talking about Jerome?
You know exactly what I'm talking about. I
didn't flip him off. I got in his face and talked some shit, but
we can run it back. I swear you flipped him off.
I don't think I did. I'll have to watch it. I'll have to go. Maybe. You know if I did, like.
This is the clip.
Yeah,
I didn't
maybe.
flip him off. I'm gonna play the clip of you being like, "What?
I feel like I got in his face and just was like, "Hey, keep running your mouth. Well, I'll come take your other belt too." I think that's what I said. But if I did flip him off, my bad. I didn't mean it. Emotions run high after you win something like that. And
absolutely.
The build up to the fight with the Jerome fight, it was the build up, and like I felt super disrespected.
Why?
Jerome has a lot of fights. He's been around a little bit longer than me, but man, I've been around since 2010, like I'm saying, and I've fought nothing but tough guys. Mm-hmm. I've never taken an easy fight. And when I'm in the training room, like I'm killing people. Like the fights I've lost have been all like the mental. We can get into that later, but Fierce, it was like my first fight back with Fierce. Mm-hmm. And I have a long history with Fierce. I'm actually who started Fierce. So I owned Fierce MMA and Fitness in Price, Utah. I started the gym and then end up losing a fight. And I'm like, hey, I need coaches. I can't coach myself. I end up selling it to Cody Bunderson, who has done a great job and has built the promotion and the gym and all that. But I felt like that they didn't give me the respect. It was every interview, everything was just like, oh, Jerome's got this punching power. He's a striker. Like, Mike's going to have to take him down and wrestle him, or he's going to get knocked out. And I'm like, looking at the fight, I'm like, it's a pretty easy fight. Like, I'm way better than this guy. So then him in interviews downplaying my skills, like, like laughing in his interviews, like, yeah, I watched his last fight. I'm not impressed. Like, it's going to be easy win. I'm going to knock him out, all this crap. And then so after the fight, like, yeah, I beat him and kind of shut everyone up, and I knocked him out. And it just got a little emotional, the emotion run high. So then, got a little crazy there.
Did you, I need to watch it back. To be honest with you, I don't know if you flipped him off.
I know I did get in his face and just, I did yell at him.
You put him on the ground, man. You could have just walked away.
Yeah, I was excited because, everyone, even the promotion's like, man, Mike's got to take this fight to the ground to win this fight. They gave me no chance in the stand-up. Mm-hmm. So then I had a little chip on my shoulder, and then when I put him out cold, like Jerome's had over 50-something fights between MMA, bare knuckle, he probably has more than that. He's been knocked out, put out twice in his career, where he's been unconscious for a second. Yeah. And that was Eric Wallin back in 2014, and then me. Mm-hmm. So I had a little chip on my shoulder. So when I put him out, I don't know, you're on that high. Yeah. And yeah, I lost my mind for a minute. I was just like, I remember running around the cage. And I ran right over to Zach Partridge. Mm-hmm. I'm just yelling. I'm like, who's got power now, mother effer? Like, who's got the power now? And then I went to Jerome and I was like, keep running your mouth. I'll come up and take your other belt too, And like, that's when we got like separated. But it's just, I had a little chip on my shoulder, a little emotions. And then I did get on, to my defense, I did get on the mic and was like, hey, sorry guys. Like, my bad. Like, emotions are high. Like, I like the guy. Like, it's cool.
Yeah. That's what I told my wife. I was like, I think that they respect each other. I think it's just a heated moment.
It was.
And because you're one of those guys where I think you have a lot that you could say, but I think that the same thing you told Aaliyah, where it's like, she's humble. I feel like you're humble.
Yeah. I don't want to eat my words. Like, we're fighting and anything can happen. I don't want to sit here and talk a bunch of shit and say all this stuff. And then, like they catch me and I get knocked out cold, and all that shit I talked down, I got to eat that on the internet for the, I'm going to get roasted. I don't want to eat my words. I want to be humble. I want to be respectful. And I don't want to talk shit because, I don't want that coming back to get me. And like, cause I'm a realist with this stuff. Like, anything can happen. Like, there can be a guy I'm 10 times better than. He throws a wild punch and I, dipped when I should have dodge, whatever.
Yeah.
I zigged when I should have zagged, and it caught me and knocked me out cold. Like I know how the game works, so I don't want to talk shit and have to eat those words later.
Yeah, man. There is the entertainment portion of this thing
Right.
too. What's your thoughts on the entertainment portion of mixed martial arts?
I think we've changed from back in the day. It was like a fighter's game. Like you come in, beat people up, and you win these fights, and that's how you got your name. Now we got social media, everything like that, and now it's more of a, if you want to get paid and you want to get the bigger fights and you want to get the UFC, you have to have that social media presence. You got to have that entertainment. You got to talk some shit. You got to like make yourself known. So it's a different era. So it's an adjustment, and that's what I've been trying to get in. I mean, after this last fight, I got on there and didn't really talk shit. I still feel like I'm pretty respectful, but I want to let people know, like, hey, don't be 5-0 fighting nobody but Cans and think you're coming here and fight me and win, like, right? Like, so I'm trying to switch the mindset on that.
Yeah, I think social media is some of our fighters do a really good job at it. I think Joe Haro does an amazing job at it. I think that this is the portion that some of our guys and gals need help with. And I'm happy to help out with whatever I can, which is why I'm so glad that you're here today. Yeah. So people can get to know you, get to know behind who the fighter is, and then hopefully become a fan of the person.
Yeah.
Your talent is amazing. You got hands. You can get it done on the ground. You're a well-rounded fighter, but let's get to know the person, And I feel like that's the portion of fighting and athletes here in Utah that we need help with.
Right.
So I think it's very important. Talking about your history, where did this whole thing start? What was the first gym? Where did you get this idea of, hey, I want to become a fighter?
It was a bucket list thing. Like, I wrestled my whole life. I wrestled since I was 4 or 5 years old, all the way through high school. I was competitive there, and then I started working in coal mines down where I grew up. It's like that's what you do. You get out of high school, you go work in a coal mine. And one of the guys I worked with, we were up in Gillette, Wyoming. He like, hey man, I do jiu-jitsu. I know you wrestled. Like, you want to come grapple with us, whatever. I'm like, yeah, that'd be fun. So I went and grappled with him, and this was like on a Wednesday or Tuesday or something. It was like we like moved this guy's living room furniture out of his house and put some mats down, and just like 3 or 4 guys and grappled, and then kind of like worked them over. Like, they were kind of like older, out of shape guys. He's like, hey man, the promotion's coming in Saturday called Ring Wars. They did like South Dakota and Wyoming kind of fights, unsanctioned. They didn't have an athletic commission back then. He's like, they're fighting on Saturday. You want to fight? And at first I was like, no, that's stupid. Like, and he's like, dude, you'd be good. Like, just do it. I was like, all right, I'll do one, like, bucket list type thing. So I literally like trained on like the Tuesday or Wednesday, and then I fought that Saturday. Yeah, it was.
How did that go?
Good. I still have like a DVD of the fight. Like,
Aaliyah, back in the day, we had to use these things called disc, and they were called DVDs. We used to have to watch movies on them.
Yeah, she don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still have the fight. Dude, I didn't know how to throw a punch. Like, it was just, I hate watching it, but it's kind of cool too. Like, I didn't know how to throw a punch. The guy was like out there throwing like spinning back fists and kicks at me, and I just double legged him, got him on the ground, and I ended up knocking him out, putting him out cold, like on the ground. But I think I got lucky. Like, if I would have lost that fight, I probably would have never kept fighting. It was like a bucket list thing. Like, if I would have got my ass kicked, I'd been like, no, this ain't for me.
Yeah.
But I ended up winning, and I was like, that adrenaline and that rush you get. And it was like that next week I started training every single day. I found a different gym there, started training and taking fights. So that's how I started.
So bucket list thing, you take it seriously. You start to sharpen your tools. At what point do you go professional? Don't you go like, was it 7 fights in?
6 fights. So yeah, if you look at Tapology, it shows like 3 fights. Mm-hmm. I did like 6 amateur fights. I ended up doing the 2 in Wyoming. Then I moved back to Utah, and took like that same year, took like 3 fights right in a row. Like, within like 3 months, I took like 3 fights. And then I took like 2 years off from fighting. I was just working and having kids, just like trying to, do the thing. And then I decided, I was like, I want to start fighting again, started training again. And came back, and I was like, I'll do one more amateur fight. And I ended up winning that fight. And then after that, I decided to go pro, which was 2014.
Outside the gym, did you ever Were you like a good student? Did you ever get in fights outside of?
I got in fights in high school. Only a couple, nothing crazy. Yeah, I was a good student. I graduated with like a 3.8 GPA. Like, but yeah, I got a couple fights in high school where I got suspended quite a bit and got in a lot of trouble. Had some assault charges where I had to pay like $9,000 for breaking a dude's jaw. And
damn.
Yeah, it sucked. I paid for that after clear through high school. Like my senior year, like I ended up having to pay like $200 a month on this. I paid for that thing for like 2 more years, like after high school. Like,
oh man,
yeah.
Damn, Mike Jones, you really do love violence.
I do like violence. Yeah, that's why I wear that shirt. I do. It's fun.
So you high school, you're a good student. You didn't want to do wrestling collegiately?
No, I should have. I had some offers, but it was like I ended up graduating right after wrestling season. I had enough credits, everything. So I was really, my senior year, I could have just graduated early, but I waited till football and wrestling was over because football was my favorite sport. I played football, and then wrestling was kind of like supplement my football. And then as soon as wrestling season, we went to the state tournament, and as soon as that next Monday, I went and graduated. So
were you around during the like Mike Stenham Ultimate Combat?
No, I think he still did a couple after like I graduated. I remember watching him on like the local
Comcast.
Yeah, I remember watching him on like me and my dad watch him on like Sunday nights. We'd watch him, but no, I really didn't even know any of the UFC fighters until I started fighting. I really never got into it. Like we'd watch like the big pay-per-views. I remember watching like the Ultimate Fighter and just like the big pay-per-views, but we never weren't like hardcore fans and didn't really watch it until I started fighting, and then I just kind of fell into it.
Oh, that was an era when Mike Stenham was doing the Ultimate Combat. I think it was Ultimate Combat Experience. Yeah. I think that's what it was. And they used to have fights inside of a bar. It was called Club Elevate. It was downtown, right next to the Salt Palace. And they would literally on like a Saturday night bring in an octagon. Well, it was a round circle cage. I don't think you can use octagon. And literally shut down the club. And they would have guys come out and fight inside the bar. It was wild.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
One day, this was after Josh got done with Josh Berkman got done with the UFC show, and so we were trying to get him an A&E show, and so we were trying to shoot this pilot. So we go in, and one of his friends was fighting at the bar, and we're going in, we have the boom mic, we're shooting this pilot for him, and I'm like 15, 16 years old in the club with Josh and my older brother. And we're like filming this television show. And I'm a child, so I'm seeing things I shouldn't be seeing. And I'm like, this is the wildest experience right now.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Whoever does a Utah MMA documentary, I hope they got footage from these shows.
Right. That's sick.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's insane. For somebody that has been doing it for so long, over a decade, what are you in, but 13 years now?
Yeah, almost 14.
14?
Yeah, 13, 14 years, yeah.
What's the biggest difference that you've seen from back then to now and through the journey from then and now?
Just the sport's grown so much, and I think the skill level. Like I look at some of these amateur fighters now, I'm like, man, these guys would have been like top level pros when we first started this, like it's just the level of skill is, and then I feel like we had kind of like Utah was like a mecca for a minute. We had all these guys coming up during the Showdown era. Mm-hmm. We had this, and then it kind of like fell off. I feel like it fell off for a while, and now with Fierce and everybody else, they're starting to build back up to where we were. Mm-hmm. But as far as the fighting goes, this just skill level from then until now is just completely different.
Yeah, I think with technology, too, I think it makes it a lot easier to take it more serious.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's not one gym, right? There's many other gyms, and there's many other guys with skills to teach you how to get to the next level, too.
Yeah, the sport's relatively new compared to any other sport. So
absolutely.
It's just evolving. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think both promotions, Still and Fierce, are doing a great job. And I think that the talent is just... Man, the talent's so good, man. I had a friend. He didn't even know I was at the show on Saturday, and he put on his podcast. He was talking about his experience at the fight at your show, and he was like, that was so unexpected. It was his first show at UVU, and he was like, this was amazing. I hear they got a show in May, which we do, May 31st, Fierce Fighting Championship 32. And he was like, it was really cool. Like, these guys really put on a show. Like, Utah really has talent. And that's something that was like, it's so organic to where because of you guys, you made somebody become a fan just like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I hope we can get, like, it's his first time. I hope we can keep getting people like that, and we can keep building it and, like, start selling these shows out. Because, us as fighters, like, that's a big thing is what we miss is, like, some guys, like, look at it as, like, oh, I just need to fight. That's my job. No, your other job is to sell some tickets and market yourself. And so for me, it's like the way I get paid is by selling tickets. So whether that I fight for Steel Fist, Fierce, anybody else, like, I get paid the same. So there isn't, like, a promotion that pays me better or anything like that. But I know my worth, and I know that I'm going to sell $16,000 worth of tickets. So I'm going to be able to have a little more negotiating power compared to somebody that's going to sell $1,000 worth of tickets, right? Like, it means a lot. And it's not that hard to make some social media posts. It's not that hard to go into some business and be like, hey, would you like to sponsor me? Would you like to buy a table at my fight? Would you like to, I'll put your logo on my shorts. I'll give shout outs, like, market you. It's not that hard. So I think that's, like, a big piece a lot of fighters are missing, especially in Utah. Like, I moved to Denver for about a year and trained out there with Factory X Muay Thai. And you have, I don't know, like 20 UFC fighters out of that gym. I was like, it's a big gym. And just the difference when I came back to Utah, I was like, we're missing a lot of pieces that these guys are doing out there.
Do you feel like you are doing enough? Do you feel like what is the biggest challenge with you professionally?
For me, it's like I fight guys. Most of the guys that I have fought, even especially like my losses, they're full-time fighters. I have a job. I work full-time job. So for me, I have to figure out when I can train. I can't train 3 times a day. Like, I have to wake up at 5 a.m. to go do my runs. I have to get off work and I go do a strength conditioning session right after work, and then I go straight to the gym and do my MMA training, like, if I want to do that. And I can't sustain that every day because I still have kids and a family. So for the struggle for me is, like, fighting guys that they can go train in the morning and they're a full-time fighter, and then they can come home, take a nap, eat some food, and then they can get their noon session in, and they can come back later. Just finding the time to be able to put the work in to be able to compete at that higher level is hard.
You have to be close. You're on what, a 7 MMA fight winning streak?
4.
4?
4 fights, yeah.
With the title?
Yeah, I'm hoping we're trying to get in with, like, the PFL coming up in the summer, in, like, June or something. Heard they're coming to Utah, so we're waiting on that. That's what we're trying. Like, the goal is to, like, with Fierce, they've built me up, whatever. Now let's move on to the next level.
It's the next level, yeah.
And then, so that's what we're waiting on now. It's just, like, getting the right eyes on you at the right time and having the people see you. And
is that harder as a middleweight?
I think so with PFL, because I'd imagine if I go with PFL, I'm going to have to take a fight at 205 because they don't have a middleweight division yet.
Yeah.
I'm hoping now that they've acquired Bellator and maybe that's coming. I'm hoping. But if not, yeah, it's like either you have 170 or 205, and I'm not cutting back to. I fought at 170 for the first half of my career. Most of my fights were at 170, and I'm not willing to do that anymore. It just did more harm than it did good for me. So, yeah, if that call comes, it's a 205 fight.
Do you want to stay away from do you want to stay at middleweight, or are you okay with going up to light heavyweight? 205
is fine. It's nice 'cause I don't have to cut any weight. I can, cut a few pounds. But if that's like the main weight class, then I can bulk up a little bit and do that. But 85 is a pretty easy cut for me. So that's the ideal weight class, is 185.
Are you doing all this alone? Are you signed to any management or anything like that?
I don't. I used to have some management back in the day. I had Shane Carwin. He was my manager for a while. But since I took 2.5 years off of fighting, I fought in 2020. And I just was like, okay, I'm done with this stuff for a while. So I took like 2.5 years off. Then I started training again, felt right back into it. But no, I don't have a manager now, to answer your question. And it's hard for right now because fighting at the local level, managers want 20% of your money. Mm-hmm. They want to do this stuff. And I feel like, especially at the local level, I can do that myself and I don't have to give my money away to somebody else that's really not doing that much work. Like, they can find me fights, maybe a sponsor here and there. But at the end of the day, I still send the matchups to my coach. Me and my coach decide who I'm fighting and if it's worth it and the money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't have a manager now. And that's the hard part to get to the next level, though, is I don't have the contacts for the higher level shows to be like, hey, try to get me on a show.
I could imagine you're it's a really big challenge for you because you have a family, right? You have a job. But at some point, do you have to get out of Utah? Do you have to go travel? Do you have to make those connections?
No, I don't think so. I mean, as far as like fighting?
As far as like knowing the people to get you in the spaces, you know?
No, I think we have plenty of guys in Utah that do have the connections.
Are they willing to give those up? Are they willing
I think
to
so.
help?
I think so. Like, I train at a bunch of different gyms, and yeah, I think most people are probably pretty good with helping out. I think we're trending in the right direction with Utah to be able to get those connections. And we have people that are in these bigger shows. We have Court's been in the UFC for ever. Caitlin Neal, she's in the PFL.
Is OC still in Utah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's a big help. Like, he's a big part of PFL with the commentating and stuff. You got Clay Collard. I grew up with Clay. Me and Clay Collard grew up in the same town. We went to high school together. So we grew up, and he's in the PFL. So, yeah, we have these people that have the connections with it. So
we got to get you full time, bro. I don't know what sponsor, and that's a question for you. Like, what would it take to get you full time? You know, what's that number? And if we can hit that number, I feel like because you got the talent, bro. You got the talent. You got the look. You're a handsome guy. Like, you're marketable. You're a clean guy. You know, I haven't seen no dirt on your name. You know, like, you're a perfect candidate to run with this thing and keep Utah in your bag.
Yeah.
Especially in the middleweight division.
Yeah,
or
I mean,
light heavyweight.
That's the dream, right? Is like being able to fight full time. But one thing when I started fighting, it was like, I'll never like let my family go without. Like, when I moved to Denver, we had a struggle. I was like, struggle to pay rent, and I was trying to be the full time fighter out there. And I'm just not willing to let my kids go without, and I gotta like have that money in the house and like have a good life outside of fighting.
Absolutely.
So as long as like that's the dream, is make enough money to pay my bills, man, we're all into fighting full time, you know.
Yeah, man.
So
speaking of fighting, man, this last one that you just had, you defended your middleweight championship that you took away from Jerome Hatch. This was your first defense, right?
Yeah.
And how long did you have to train for this? Or are you always training?
We're always trading. This one we had a long fight camp for this one. I was actually supposed to fight a different guy, Greg Ellis, I believe his name was. And 3 weeks out, he had an injury, so then we got this new guy. But I've been training for, I think I probably had 10 to 12 weeks to train for this one. So, yeah, we had a long time.
Good camp. The guy that you were fighting, Miller, that was his last name.
Yeah,
was
Trent Miller.
Yeah. He's not a Utah guy, is he?
No, he's out of Extreme Couture out of Vegas. So
I wasn't familiar with him. Going into this fight, what's the thoughts? How are you feeling? What's going through your head?
I was confident. He comes out of a great gym, obviously, Extreme Couture. He's on podcast talking about how he's training with Chris Curtis and Sean Strickland and Francis Ngannou. He's like name dropping a lot. And so he comes out of a good gym, and he was undefeated. Like, he was 6-0 as an amateur, 5-0 as a pro. And then, you know, like, I've seen articles on Instagram where he's like, they're doing like the top 15 prospects to make it to the UFC, and he was like number 5 on that list. So I was confident because I watched his fights, and I'm like, okay, don't have the experience I have. I have a lot more fights than him. He's 5-0. And then I start looking at his opponents, and his opponents had a combined record of 7-10.
Wow.
My opponent's combined record at the time I fought him was like 90-54 or something. Like,
wow.
So I had this a crazy experience on him. So I was super confident watching like the skill set. I'm like, oh, I'm going to beat this guy. But they're still in the back of your mind, like he's 5-0 and he hasn't fought anybody, but he still finished these guys all in the first round. I had a little chip on my shoulder, like this guy ain't coming out here he ain't gonna come make a name off of me. So yeah.
You start off the fight. I feel like there was a lot of distance. I feel like you kept a lot of distance. You were finding your shot. Is that kind of the game plan? Did you fight your fight?
Yeah, I fought exactly to our game plan. You always make little mistakes here and there that you got to clean up. But the biggest problem for me in fighting is the mental game, and I tend to brawl. Like I'll tend to like get hit or like just say screw it and start throwing wild punches, and then I get tired. Like no matter how, like with the BKFC one, like I was the way better fighter. The dude was just tough, and first 2 rounds, like I beat him up. I was just cutting him up, working him over, completely gassed myself out. And, like my coach, Jeremy Horn, was just like, no matter how good a shaper, and if you throw 100% power and you're just like, you don't have a pace, you can't sustain that for 5 rounds. And I've done that in the past where like a lot of fights I've lost where I've like went for the kill. The dude was tough, and next thing you know, I'm completely gassed and then start making mistakes and I get caught with that. So the game plan was literally not throw a punch or anything. Don't commit on any punches for the first 2-3 minutes. Get out there, fill it out, calm down, and then start going to work. And I felt like we did that perfectly. He would come in, I would throw some counters, some throwaway jabs, throwaway right hand, not really committing on anything. And then the first combo that I actually was like, all right, now it's time to commit, dropped him. So yeah, that was the game plan. It was just stay calm and just fill it out. And we have 5 rounds to fight. Stop trying to rush it and finish it right now. Just touch him up and you got 5 rounds. Don't rush it.
Yeah. You end up getting him on the ground and arm triangles that put him out, right?
Yeah.
Was it all the way in?
Yeah, it was tight. Just the way he was turned to his side. Because I remember squeezing, and I wasn't even squeezing as tight as I could yet. I was just like slowly starting to squeeze, and I hear him like gargle a little bit. And then I felt him like stop breathing. And I was like, okay, now it's time to start. And I started squeezing, and he tapped. Yeah. I think the angle I had on it was pretty good.
Have you watched the fight back?
Oh, yeah, a couple times, yeah. yeah, a couple times.
When I haven't had the chance to watch the full fight. It went so quick. What was it, like 3 minutes?
Yeah, it was almost 4 minutes, 3 something.
Yeah. When I look, from what I remember, it didn't look like you had it in all the way. And I was telling my wife, I was like, I don't think he got it in all the way. Yeah, but he tapped.
You'll watch it. Yeah, it was tight. Yeah, it was tight.
So you get that win, man. Obviously, the next thing that we want to go is the next level up, PFL, UFC. I mean, the greater things, which I have all the confidence that you'll get there. It sounds like there's an awkward time right now, though, right? Because if we're looking at summertime for maybe the opportunity with PFL, do you want to hold off on any fight opportunities to defend again?
No. So if the PFL thing doesn't work out, I'm looking at July or August with Fierce. They have a show in July down in Price, which is hometown, and we'll sell a bunch of tickets. We'll have as many people in that little event center as we did at UVU. Like it'll be, because most of my fans, and like I sell a lot of tickets, they travel up and have to get hotel rooms. So if it's in our backyard, like we'll sell some tickets. And if not that one, August 3rd at the Maverick Center. So I've already been talking with Zach, and yeah. Man,
I hope you get the Price opportunity.
That'd be cool. Yeah, it'd be a fun fight. The Maverick Center is always cool. And
yeah.
He's already got some opponents. I don't know who. Maybe that Hamza Salim guy that fought Jerome.
Yeah.
Like I know he mentioned on the mic that he wanted to come down to 185. Like, let's do that. We could do it at 205. Like, I'm good with that fight too.
Do you want to be champ?
Good, yeah. I mean, for the right opponent, like at 205, I'll fight at 205 for the right opponent. I'm not going to cut any weight for there, but also you start getting certain guys that cut from 220, 230. So then it's just like I don't want to fight them guys, like these high level guys that are coming in the cage at 220 when I'm going to be sitting at like 206, 207.
Salim would be fun. I think you guys would put on a good show.
Yeah, he just had fight of the night with Jerome. And
did you get a chance to watch that?
I went back and watched it on YouTube. I didn't get to watch any fights at the night of the fight because you're just stuck in the back, and so I just kind of was back there. But I went back and watched a few of the fights. But yeah, I did watch that one.
How I was talking to Ken about this being the main event, is it tough being there from the time you check in and waiting the whole night? Is that tough on a main event fighter?
Yeah, we checked in at 4 o'clock. I had to be there at 4 o'clock, and then we fought around 10.
Yeah, I think it was about 9 something.
Yeah, almost 10 o'clock. So yeah, just sitting back there, and you have those nerves, and you're anxious, and you're just seeing guys come back in all bloodied up and beat up, and yeah, it's cool being the main event. It's like, don't get me wrong, it's awesome. You're the man. You're cool. Everyone's there to see you. But at the same time, man, sometimes it'd be nice just to be that first fight of the night. You get there, get wrapped up, and go fight, and then don't have to have those nerves and anxiety for the whole time.
Can we talk about BKFC?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was that experience like? Obviously, this was your first bare-knuckle fighting match. It was here in Utah, Maverick Center. We're rooting. We got 3 guys on the card. We're all rooting for all our guys. You, Ben, Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Take me through that from the time that you get the opportunity. When do you get the phone call?
Yeah, so they came here and did the tryout. They did tryouts, and they actually did it at my gym I train at. So Horn's like, yeah, go do it. I heard they pay pretty good, So it was just like, okay, we went and did it, and then they came and filmed at my house, did some like little tryout documentary thing on me.
Can we what does tryouts look like? What is that?
Yeah, we went in there, and there's a bunch of people in there. A bunch of people traveled in from different states to come and to try out. But it's really, they want to watch you shadow box. They want to watch you hit the bag. They talk. Because it's all for like, they're doing this. They're filming, and they're doing this thing on their BKFC app where they're documenting these tryouts. And then you get to spar a little bit, and then they just kind of pick who they think will be on the card. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was how the tryouts went. And then so I did that, and then it was, hey, we want you on the Utah card. We're coming. And then it was like, finally, by the time I got a contract, we're about 4 weeks out. Yeah, it was a different experience. Like I think I took it. If I was to do it again, I'll train a little different. It was different pacing. It was 2-minute rounds. Because in my mind, I'm like, I'm used to fighting 5-minute rounds. I could fight 2-minute rounds all day. But when you get in there and you have 2-minute rounds, you throw is a lot faster pace. So, man, after that first round, I sat down and I was like, oh, I am not ready to do 5 rounds of this. Like,
because you're not pacing like your last fight, right? You're not just tapping. You're not just finding. You're actually full power, right?
And that was a mistake I made. It was like, and I went into that fight thinking, I'm like, okay, I'm going to knock this guy out. Dude was tough. I punched him with every punch that I've ever hit anybody else with, and he just ate him. Like, kept coming at me. He was cut and bleeding, and yeah, I should have paced myself. I didn't fight very smart that fight. Like I don't know if it was something having the bare knuckles or, remind me of a street fight back in the day, like where you're just like, oh, let's go. And yeah, it was just different pacing. It was different all around. And I think I had like a pretty good adrenaline dump too. Like I wasn't expecting there to be 8,300 people there. And man, I went out there and it was just completely different. Like I fought Jerome. I fought Ben Robinson before that. I fought this Trent Miller. I'm in there like thinking like, okay, hey, here's the game plan. I just remember that one. I'm like tunnel vision, like just, I didn't hear anything my coaches said. I just think I fought dumb. Just went out there and just brawled and got tired, and the dude was tougher than we thought. So.
Yeah. Did you, after you wake up, he caught you, I think it was an overhand right?
Yeah.
I think so. What's going through your head after you find out that like
I was just completely exhausted.
Yeah.
I was just so exhausted where I was like, oh, that sucked. Like, yeah, it just sucked. Like, you don't want to lose. But I just remember being completely exhausted, get to the back, and like it took me 30 minutes before I even could like untie my shoes to get them off. I kept like sitting up trying to like, okay, I gotta go see my family. But I laid on that floor back there for 30 minutes before I caught my breath. It was just like between like an adrenaline dump and just fighting stupid. Like I was completely exhausted.
We're fighting. I got another question for you, but I don't want to leave this BKFC topic. How was that promotion? Were they professional? How was fighting for them?
Yeah, they were good.
All right, we'll take that as they were good. He's a politician. All right. What did you think about After you got to watch the event, because I'm assuming you didn't get to see Ben and Travis.
No, because Bradshaw was before me, and then Ben was the fight right after me. So yeah, I didn't see Ben's fight. I went back and watched him, but that's Ben Moe, man. He's a stud. I love that guy. He's just like happy and dancing and just doing his thing, you know.
And you fought Bradshaw.
Yeah, we fought. It was actually Bradshaw's pro debut, and yeah, that was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Bradshaw's a cool dude too, man. Like, I think bare knuckles, he's built for that.
Yeah, I think it's too. I feel like we haven't seen him in a while. He's probably having another kid. I tell him all the time. Every time I see you, bro, you're having a new kid.
Yeah, I think if I was him, I'd be waiting for the next bare knuckle opportunity. Like, I feel like that's his game, and that's where he's gonna excel at. You know, because he likes that brawl, and in MMA he kind of gets caught with, you know, wrestling and everything like that. But the dude is game, and he likes to throw down. So
he's a brawler.
I think that bare knuckles like his calling. So maybe he's just waiting for the next opportunity from them. I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't talked to him for a while. So
you were a coal miner. Does that impact your lungs at all?
Oh, I'm sure it does. Probably, I don't know. I don't notice it when you're working down there. I'm sure after like years of doing it, like you get the black lung or something. But
do you see anything weird down there when you're inside the mountain?
No, it's pitch black, man. It's like the darkest place you've ever been in your life. You could turn your light off and you can't see your hand an inch from your face. Ooh. Like it's a different breed of people that work down there. It's just a dark cave.
No fossils or anything?
I never seen anything like that. I know they find them, right? Yeah. Like I never seen anything like that.
Dang, man, I always wonder, man, is there any diamonds or anything you find?
Yeah, I think they probably do. I never did. Nah.
What are you doing down there? Are you chipping away at rock?
So for me, I was lucky. I was always as like a welder or mechanic. So I got in like the maintenance portion of it. So I kind of just hung out until something would break down, go fix it. Like the equipment would break down, you go down and fix it. They run, you just do normal like maintenance stuff on things, and just, man, you're just kind of like hanging out until something breaks down, and then you got to fix it.
Anytime I hear about mining, I think about the guys in Spain. I think it was a 22.
Yeah.
That's scary, man.
Yeah, I mean, even down in Price, I think I was in high school. Probably like 2008, they had the Crandall Canyon mine accident where they had like 6 miners trapped in there, and 3 more end up dying trying to go in and save them, and like they never got them. So, and as I just remember, I was in high school, and that was a big deal because a couple of my friends, like dads, were the ones that were like, trapped under there. So it was like it's a different profession. And
you were like, I'm gonna do it too.
It's just you don't even think about it. It's just like that's like the lifestyle down there, you know.
Yeah.
You either work in some kind of shop or welder, mechanic, or something that supports the coal mines, or you work in the coal mine. That's just kind of like, that's the only industry that's really down there.
Dang, man.
That's what runs that community. So it's just normal, you know, like my grandpa worked there. Like he got injured there, like broke his back and his neck and was never able to work again. Like, yeah, it's like a normal part of life down there.
Those guys are badasses, man. I couldn't.
There's some tough dudes. I did it for a few years, and I'm glad to be out. I'll tell you that. I'm glad to be up in Salt Lake, man.
What does your parents think about what you do? What does your family think about this whole thing?
They like it. My dad loves it. My mom doesn't like it, but she says she doesn't like it, but she hasn't missed one fight, and she's there, and she gives me crap after the fight. Like even this one, I come and she's like, "Oh, I was nervous. You made it last a little longer than I wanted." You know, she like wants it to be like a 10-second knockout or something. Yeah. But she says she hates it, but she still shows up to every single one of them. She won't miss one of them. So they're super supportive.
What's the first meal you eat after?
Oh, honestly, I don't think I had a meal after this one. I think I went home and had a couple drinks and passed out. I was just like, got home and celebrated a little bit and went to bed.
What does the celebration look like?
It used to be like we'd go out and have like an after party, all this. Now I got the kids, like they're always at my fight. So after the fight, I got them. And then we're going to get the baby from my wife's mom's house. So it's like we just go home. And this time a few people came over and we just hung out at my house and just had some drinks until we all went to bed. So nothing crazy anymore. Getting older. Yeah, just like got to go to sleep, man. It's going to hurt in the morning. So
I was talking to Eric Iman about age, right? Eric Iman is an older guy.
Yeah.
You in the grand scheme of things, are an older guy.
Yeah.
Is there a time frame on this thing?
So whenever I came back, like I said, I took those 2 years off, 2.5 years, and then I came back in 2022 and started fighting again. Kind of made a goal. So my wife was a fighter too, so she understands. Like she's super supportive, and she understands it. So I kind of made a goal. Like I'm gonna go until like I'm 35, 36, and see how my body's feeling. Like just push, because like what do they say? You're in your athletic prime right now. So I'm just going to push until, like, to stay active until I'm 35, 36, and then we'll reevaluate and see how we're feeling, see how the body's doing, see if we're still competitive or if I'm just getting beat up by these young killers coming up,
Do you want to take a coaching role, or what's the
plan?
Yeah,
absolutely. So this year, actually, a few months ago, I got the opportunity to go teach, like, the grappling side, wrestling side for Excite MMA down in Lehigh.
Yeah.
So that's been really fun for me. Like that's almost just as gratifying as fighting. Like I get more nervous for them guys, like coaching them. You're out there. Like I think the first fights that I went up in corners, the guys that I'm coaching, was that fierce fight up in Ogden at Bonneville High.
Yeah,
and got to corner a couple guys up there, and it was a blast. So yeah, I do. That's something that I'm very interested in.
That card was so fun.
Yeah.
That Bonneville one. Was it Bonneville High School?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so fun, man.
Julian Ruiz is the main event.
Yeah.
That kid's a killer, too.
I mean, Kiwi opened it up with that kickboxing fight. That was so fun.
I love Kiwi. So Kiwi's from where I'm from, too. She's from down in Price.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So I remember, I started Fierce back in 2014, maybe. And she was there as a little kid. And I remember holding pads for her and coaching her up a little bit. And then now seeing her grow, and now she's like killing it. So it's awesome.
Now you're the old man in the gym.
Yeah, for real. I feel like it, dude. Like, I mean, at all the gyms I train at, I'm like, got way more fights than everybody. I'm like older. I'm like, I don't know how you got, I don't know how much longer I got left. Look at these guys. And I'm seeing some of these guys that are like 22 years old. I'm like, I don't want to fight that guy, dude. Like eventually, So
what's your thoughts on women's combat in Utah?
It's good. It's growing. Like we still need more of them. We don't have very many women. Yeah, I would like to see it more. I'm seeing more. Like I'm coaching a few at Excite, and I go down to Agema and I see a few there. So I'm hoping it keeps growing here. Like, because those are some of the funnest fights to watch, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like they throw down. They have no quit in them. They're ballers.
I think a few of them disappear though too. That's the one thing that kind of there's a good solid handful of fighters that we can rely on. We can see their name on the cards often, but then sometimes fighters just disappear. Maybe life happens. Maybe it comes too expensive.
Right.
And that's the thing that I think sucks about this, because this sport is expensive, right? You got to pay for a trainer. You have to pay for a gym if you want to take it seriously.
Yeah, I think a lot of that too is some people, they want to be a fighter, or then they go in and they take a hard loss and they're like, maybe this ain't for me. I think some of it turns into that.
How do you get out of that mental space?
I don't know. For me, it's like every time I'm in the fight, like I'm in the back, even this fight, you're sitting in the back and you're just waiting for hours. You're anxious. And I'm just like, this sucks, man. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I about to lock myself in a cage with another man that's trying to kill me, like trying to hurt me? And I'm always like, this is dumb. Like, this is the stupidest thing I could do. Like, why am I doing this? This is dumb. I hate it. And then as soon as the music comes on and then it switches, and then it's been like, when you win, you're like, this is the best feeling in the world. You're like so high. So like, I can't wait to do the next one. And then for me, and I don't know how other people feel, but when I've lost, I come out of it and I'm like, I'm like upset that I lost, but I'm like, I could have done so much better. I got to get back in there. I got to get back in the gym. Like for me, that's my mentality, is like, I could have done better. I could have beat that guy. Like I need to do this different, or I need to train harder, or I need to get back in the gym. So that's kind of the mentality I have on it.
Yeah, man. You win, you lost. Is there any fight that you would love to get back? Is there any fighter that you're like, hey, I want to get this one back? Maybe Carson?
Yeah, Carson, but he owns the gym I'm coaching at now. He owns Excite, right? So
I think he won the war.
And he's yeah. He's like a friend now. Like I love that guy. Like there for a while I did try to push it. And Carson's cool. Like we've talked about it, and he's like, yeah, I wouldn't fight you again. You know, like that fight was great. And it was one of those mental things. Like I was completely gassed. And when you start getting super tired in a fight, I mean, Zeke can attest to it, right? Like you get super tired and you start making mistakes. You start second guessing everything. And I had on the judge's scorecard going into that, like I ended up losing in the end of the second round. There was like 30 seconds left. But I was looking about to 2 10-8 rounds. Like they had me 10-8 in the first round. They were scoring me 10-8 for the second round. And I was just so exhausted. And he threw up a good triangle choke. And I was so exhausted. Like I tried to defend and he's tough as hell. Like, but yeah, so I would love that fight back. But now Carson's my friend. I teach at his gym. So that'll never happen. And plus he's going down to 155. Like,
really?
Yeah. And I think his last fight was at 55. And then he's not a big 170. And then I was a big 170. So I think that weight cut killed me too. So I would never go back down to that weight class. So
was his last fight the PFL one?
No, he fought for Fierce a couple months ago at the Maverick Center.
Did it? Who did he fight?
Justin,
he did.
Justin James, that guy that
That's
was
right.
in the UFC for a while.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is there any fighters that you personally like? Hey, I can't wait to see this dude fight.
Yeah,
you're fans of?
There's quite a few, man. Like, got so many guys at Agima, at Horns Gym. Marco's got some dudes. Chris Ventura, like I'm ready. That kid's got a lot of talent.
YouTube or Instagram, they get mad when we name names. They got so mad at Zeke. You forgot this name. You forgot that.
It's so hard, man. Like I train at Horns Gym, and that's my gym. Yeah. That's my dude. But also, I'm also twice a week down at Agima, and they got a bunch of people. And then on Sundays, I'm going up to Rise Boxing with Marco, and he's got people. So it's just like, man, it's hard to keep track. And then when you're at Agima, we got guys like Eric, and them guys are coming down from up north training with us. So you got these other gyms. It's just like, I don't even try. That's why in the post-fight interviews, I used to like try to like name every sponsor and everything. And now I'm like, hey, I did all my work on social media. Hey, I appreciate you guys. Like, it's so hard to like, I'm sitting here staring at my shorts.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't miss anybody, you know, and I still admit it. It's like, hey, what the heck, man? You didn't mention. I'm like, now I'm just like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to thank everybody and just keep it general. And
what you should do is do a social media post. Group A, that's the Group A people.
Yeah.
Group B, Group C. It's like, yo, shout out to Group A, B, and C.
There we go. I might do that. Yeah. I always forget something. Like this last fight, it was my niece's birthday that day. Oh. And she was like, how old's Luce? 10, 9? She got to be like 8 or 9, something like that. And she's like, are you going to give me a shout out? I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. Then you get in the fight and you forget. So I'm like, I'm just like,
that's the one.
And she's like coming at me. Like, I'm sorry, I got punched in the head, even though I didn't. Yeah. Like,
no, you had no excuse. You
got I had no excuse. I wasn't tired. I need to almost like write like a paper, like have someone hand me a paper, like little reminders.
Yeah,
because
that's exactly what you should do. Honestly, fighters like have your put that in your coach's pocket. When you get the win, pull out the paper, boom.
That's what I'm gonna do. Yes,
and happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. Yeah, she was not happy with me.
Yeah. Yo, Dre, hit the song. And I play, go shorty. It's your birthday.
There we go.
Are you tired of the Mike Jones jokes?
Not anymore. So during high school, that stuff was like popping, right? So
of course.
Even the teachers in school.
Who?
Yeah, they would be calling roll. They'd be like, Jim, Mike Jones, and someone, who? It sounds like a bunch of owls in there, just, who? It was like, I used to hate it, but now, because I didn't walk, my last couple, I haven't walked out, but usually there for a long time, that's what I'd walk out to.
Back then?
Mr. Jones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's what I used to walk out to all the time, but we'll see. Everyone, after the fight, people hit me up, like, what the heck, dude, you have to walk out to Mike Jones, like, the people love it, like, it's good for you. I'm like, okay, I'll do it again. But
yeah, you could always lean into it.
Yeah.
Have the people in the crowd saying, do you hear the crowd?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, depending on the fight. I remember I fought Ben Robinson down in Price back 2017, probably 16. And the fight's on YouTube, but you can hear the crowd like, who? Mike Jones. Who? Mike Jones. The whole time we're fighting. And I remember hearing that in the fight, and I'm like, oh, I can't lose this. I got to beat this guy up now. Like, I got everyone here.
Yeah.
So.
When you get to the big stage,
yeah,
people that know pop culture, that's going to be the thing. And that's going to ring so big It's going to ring huge.
Yeah, I probably should lean into it a little more than I do. The last couple, this one I wanted to walk out to Showdown by ELO just because I made my pro debut for Showdown at UVU almost 10 years ago, and now I'm main eventing their title at UVU.
Yeah. Were you on the card with Berkman and Kofi?
Yeah. No. Dave Castillo was the main event on the one I fought.
Shout out to Jeremy Horn. Dave Castillo. That's my guy.
Castillo.
We sponsored him. So, sorry, not to cut you off.
Oh, you're good.
But you said Dave Castillo, and he was one of my guys.
Yeah.
Him, Nick Burgos, Spider Dawes.
Okay.
All those guys.
All the horn guys.
Yeah, all the horn guys. Man, I used to. Jeremy probably don't remember this. He probably don't remember who I am. But I hosted a rap battle at Intermission inside the cage.
Oh, nice.
It was so sick.
That's cool.
And Jordan was like, never again.
Were you doing when he used to do the fights up at the complex?
No. This was at Davis County Convention Center.
Up north.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think that fight, my pro debut was Dave Castillo was the main event. I remember Lucas Montoya fought Kofi. Jerome Hatch fought Eric Wallin. That was when Jerome got knocked out by Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I fought some guy out of Montana, but it was like my first fight. So I was like, I got to walk out. I got to pay a little bit to Showdown, you know. So I walked out to Showdown by ELO. Just made my pro debut there 10 years ago, and now I'm headlining at UVU for the title. So
these are stories we need to hear before.
Yeah. Well, I said it on the Damage Plan podcast with them, but yeah, you're right. I probably should.
You know?
Yeah.
Tell a story.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole thing with this whole thing is that, like, we need to be invested.
Yeah.
And if we hear the story about how you did this and, you know, it ties into the whole song and everything, it will make us, honestly, it'll make people buy tickets because they want to see the story. Yeah. I don't know if you're a WWE guy.
I like WWE, yeah.
So we wanted to see Cody Rhodes finish the story, right? Because we were invested in the story over 2 years. We didn't see the story finish, and we finally see the story finish. That's exactly in a shorter form. We want to see the build up to and why we want you to win, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe I got to have you train me on social media because I don't. I'm the worst at it. Like I'm trying. I do a lot of posts now, and I'm like always trying to post where I'm at and where I'm training and pictures and stuff. But yeah, I mean, train me up, dude. Because I mean that's a cool story. Like I was a second fight of the night 10 years ago here at UVU, and that's like the last Showdown fight that they've done there. 10 years, I'm main eventing for a title in that same venue. Like,
I would love more content of you guys. Everything that we just talked about. You have history with a lot of vets. You know what I mean? I would love to hear the story. You and Carson sitting on the couch watching your old fight, you know, and talking about how you are now helping out at his gym, you know, and why you guys won't run it back, you know?
Yeah.
And what you guys think about the current situation of these fighters and who to look out for. You know, these type of interactions and stories, I feel, that will just help build not only yourself, your brand, but it will help build the smaller gyms, and it will help build the bigger organizations like Fierce.
Absolutely, yeah. Like if Fierce is doing good, and they're making money, I'm making more money. So
exactly,
I'm all into it. So
and if you are, the gym is.
The more followers I can get on social media, the more money I'm going to make. So,
and that's what sponsors want. Mm-hmm. How do we get you full time?
Sponsors, right?
And what do we feed the sponsors? We feed the sponsors content. They need to be seen. Their product needs to be seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, these are the things.
Yeah. So now I'm working with Paul Longworth with my strength conditioner. So I added that in this camp, and he's came from Vegas. He was down there working, and so he gets here and he's like, man, you guys ain't doing enough with social media. So I'm doing my strength conditioning. We got a camera crew in there almost every day. Like, we got a guy filming, putting out reels, putting out content of our training sessions. And so I feel like that's been like a huge help with a lot of it too. Like, so that I can just share this reel of me doing strength conditioning and, like, you know, have a story of my fight camp. Cause it's like started a few months ago. I could see like the results that I've gotten. And I feel like that's kind of what you're saying. Is
hell yeah.
Build that stuff like that. So,
yeah.
So we have that with the strength conditioning, but now probably start doing a little more with the actual training, MMA training. So
yeah, and personal stuff, right? Yeah. Like the mental side of this thing. The wins, the losses, because you might do a post and somebody that just lost, they might need that to get out of their funk,
right?
You know, and ride this middle line. Somebody that's really on a high, that's going on a win streak and everything like that, you can't be all the way up here. You got to ride this middle line,
right?
You know, you're never as good as they say you are. They're never as bad as you say you are. They, so like you got to ride this middle line.
Yeah, you just got to keep pushing. Yeah, for sure.
All right, man, I want to jump into a segment called Questions.
Are you sick of podcasts that just interview people with the same questions and gossiping nonsense?
Are you tired of hearing about what's wrong with the world? Can you locate your nearest orphanage?
Who cooked the Last Supper?
R.I.P. Mr. Potato Head.
Seppuku Harakiri.
Where is Mavis Beacon?
This is Hos.
And this is host Beefy.
Listen to the Beans and Rice podcast.
Exclusively in Braille and all streaming platforms.
Patent pending.
Hey, yo, you're probably listening to the Unrestricted Podcast with Drerawka.
We are?
No, they are.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Oh, wow.
And I'm the real Ruby. You can catch me and Fonzie and the
Defunk.
G Daddy Funk on Lake Talk 801 podcast.
Yeah, but I think you have to come in more smoother, more funnier. Like, yeah, they could catch us on the Lake Talk 801 podcast.
Yeah, y'all can catch us on Lake Talk 801.
Yeah, and be like, and yeah, man, hey, and they could catch people like me, the real Ruby, and people like you, Fonzie, and people like him, G Daddy Funk,
Wow,
on
that's
the
a
Lake
lot of
Talk
people.
801. Who cares?
What did he say?
Huh?
I didn't hear him.
I don't know, but
Why-
this probably should be the ad.
Are these on?
Catch a new episode every Monday on all streaming platforms. The Lake Talk 801. Tune in now.
Now, Questions is powered by a bar named Sue. You can catch live music, sports events, including UFC pay-per-views at a bar named Sue, 3970 South, Highland Drive and 8136 South State Street, or more at abarnamedSue.com. Now, first question comes in from Corey in Park City. Other than family, who do you look up to most?
Man, well, if we're talking fighting, probably my coaches. Like, you got Horn, Dane, Mark, all these guys. I look up to these guys, and Court McGee. Like, as far as like my fighting career, yeah, I look up to them guys a lot. Like, they're
Get up on that mic.
I look up to them guys a lot. They've helped me out in life, helped me be a better person. So yeah, I look up to them guys. I like what they're doing, and
Yeah.
they're hustling. So
Triple H for me.
Triple H, hell yeah.
Man, I think what Hunter's doing with this organization is incredible, and everybody gets to shine now. And I feel like there's a space in wrestling, pro wrestling, that hasn't been as equal as it is now. Everybody's getting a piece of this pie.
Yeah. I need to start watching again. I mean, I'm back in the Attitude Era. I watched that like religiously growing up.
Oh,
but
it's back.
And then is it back?
Oh,
yeah.
it's back, baby.
Because I know my brother, he's like into it, and he's like telling me about all these storylines. Well, The Rock came back, and then this is happening. And he's just like, they're all in, you know. So he's like, I hear it a little bit from him, but
Man, there's this guy, I think you're gonna love him. His name's Kevin Owens, KO, and Kevin Owens is the Stone Cold of this generation.
oh, hell, that was my dude.
Yeah, he's the guy that's like, F you, dude. Like, he's the guy that's on the side of right, you know,
Yeah.
and he don't care. Like, he flies off the handle like that, and he's gonna get after you. And there's this whole storyline with the bloodline from The Rock and Roman Reigns and the Rikishi sons from Jay and Jimmy Uso. Like, it's just incredible. And the women in pro wrestling right now are probably the most talent out of the whole organization, both lineups. You got a women's champion, former women's champion, and this chick named Rhea Ripley. She's an Aussie. She is incredible, athletic. There's this other chick named Bianca Belair that's just like, oh man, a dominant force. Like, you check it out.
You talked me into it. I'm back in. I'm back in watching. Yeah.
Go check out day 2 of Mania of this year. It was in
Okay.
Philly. It was really good Mania. Okay, cool. Thank you, Corey. Appreciate that. Restless in Ogden City. Shout out to Restless. If you could live in any time in the past, when would it be?
I've been watching a lot of Peaky Blinders lately, and man, I like that, like 1920s. Like, that seemed cool. Like, I don't know.
That Prohibition era?
Yeah, Prohibition era. It just seemed, I don't know. I'm watching that show, so I'm like, man, I would have been one of those cool, tough guys, but I don't know. But that seemed like a cool spot.
They all dress really good.
But I mean, realistically, we live in the best time now. Like, it's the safest. It's the best. Like,
Technology's crazy.
yeah, we live in the best time. But yeah, we could have been some like 1920s gangster back there, like bootlegging whiskey. You know, that'd been cool.
If I could keep my conscience now and go back to 97, like that era.
Oh man,
97 was like one of the greatest years for me. I don't know why. I was 8, 9 years old, but it was just a really good year. My dad was, had a great job. It was carefree. I wasn't doing horrible as a student. Like, I had really good friends during that time.
Oh man, yeah, you have way better answers than me. Cause I'm like, man, I went back to my childhood with my conscience now. Like, man, it would have been way better. We'd have made some different turns in life. So we'd be like a doctor right now making a bunch of money or something. You know what I'm saying? Or like,
you think about what you could do, like having what you, because UFC was around during that time, right? Because it's 30 years now. They just celebrated the 30th. So, yeah, UFC's around during that time. Maybe finding the right athletes and curating the right answers to these guys like the Gracie family. Like, you being the guy and being like, I know how to get around that jiu-jitsu shit.
Yeah, well, like, and then wrestling, like, I did everything in my life for sports, for football. I love football. Mm-hmm. Wrestling was kind of like keep me in shape for football. So I didn't care about it as much. I didn't try as hard. I didn't care if I won state, man. If I'd go back, I'll put all my eggs into wrestling, and I would have been a state champion and like just work my ass off. And then it would have helped me on this fight career a little better now,
Yeah.
But I didn't care about wrestling. I'm like, no, football's where it's at,
Yeah, man. What position did you play?
I played D end, and I was a fullback actually.
Did you letter?
Yeah. Yeah, I started all 4 years of school, or all 3 years, because back then, ninth grade was still in the junior high then. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I played. But it was just such a small school down there. Like, we were like a 2A, 3A school, so it was like we barely had enough kids to make a full team. So it wasn't that hard to start. Yeah. And, be like, played every side of the ball. I was on my kickoff return. I was kicker. I played offense, defense. We didn't have very many people, so you played all four sides. Like, it was.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
All right, wrestlers, thank you for that question. Sasha in Hell's Kitchen, New York. Shout out to all my New York people. 3 concerts you would want to see from an artist that is no longer here.
Let's see.
It could be bands.
Yeah. I would like to go see Tom Petty, dude. That guy was cool.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Obviously, you're gonna go with like Biggie, Tupac, them kind of dudes. Like I would go see that guy. Like I listen to a lot of that '90s hip hop stuff a little bit too.
Well, there's a lot of '90s rappers that are dead. So
like pick any of them, man. Like that's like on our gym playlist while we're working out. That's what we listen to while we're sparring and stuff. So yeah, any of those guys.
I gotta go see Bob. Right, gotta go see Uncle Bob.
Oh yeah,
Bob Marley and the Wailers. Chester, man. I got to see Lincoln Park. Full Lincoln Park.
Oh, man, I remember driving to, going to Lake Powell with my dad in this little truck, and it was, he had got, one of the first, one of the Lincoln Park albums, and we just, played that thing on repeat, all driving to Lake Powell. I remember I'd been, 12 or 13 or something. Just rocking out, dude.
Dude, Chester.
That'd be cool.
That dude's vocals were incredible. So, definitely him, Bob Marley, and Michael Jackson. Got to see MJ.
I never really got into Michael Jackson. I'm sure it'd be a cool show. But
yeah.
I just never listened to any of his music.
Or Barry White, or Prince.
There's so many. That's a tough question to limit down to 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or the Beatles, that'd be cool.
Beatles, yeah.
All right, good question. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, last question here comes from Basa Munoz. I love when Basa Munoz in Sandy, Utah, he gives me these questions, and this is a really good one. Pick a team. Team A, B, or C. Okay? Team A is Jerome Hatch, Zeke Latu, Andrew Mickelson. B, Joe Haro, Carson Hardman, Eric Eyman. Team C, Kent Mafaleo, Julian Ruiz, or Fabio Sorrell.
Man, this is a bullcrap.
A, B, and C.
This is a bullcrap question. Yeah.
That's a really good
They're
one.
all my dudes. I got who? So we had Team B. We had Joe Haro,
Carson, and Eric Eyman.
And number 1 was Jerome,
Zeke, and Andrew.
Then we had Kent,
Julian, and Fabio.
And what are we doing with these teams?
That's your squad.
That's who we're going to
for battle against the other guys.
Oh man, I got like my dudes on all 3 teams, man. This is
great.
I'm going with A.
Jerome, Zeke, and Andrew Mickelson.
Yeah, Jerome's got that. I mean, you can't kill the dude. He ain't got that no quit in him.
Mm-hmm.
And I trained with Mickelson. He was like one of my main sparring partners for this fight coming up, and that guy's got a dog in him too. So, but all the rest of them too. Dude, you got freaking Kent and Julian in the other one. Like, who's gonna beat those guys?
Yeah.
And then Joe Harrow's like one of the most technical fighters we got in Utah, and you got Eric Iman's just a giant, and Carson has that no quit. I don't know. I'm going with Team A.
Team A.
I'm gonna get a lot of shit for that, but I'm going with it.
Drop a comment. Let us know your teams.
Hey,
What team would you pick?
Show up next Saturday at Agima. We'll figure it out.
Mr. Mike Jones, man, where can we follow you? What's the anything else you want to plug, sponsors or anything like that?
Yeah, Instagram is Mike Jones 170. Help me get that following up. Give me a like. On Facebook, it's just Mike Jones, I believe. Yeah, dude, just a shout out to everyone that like buys a ticket from me, comes to the fights, that supported me forever, and my wife for meal prepping and letting me fight. Right, it's a lot of sacrifices for her too, where I'm trained. I'm get off work. I'm going to this gym. Then I'm going to this gym. I'm not home till 9 o'clock at night every single night. And she's just taking care of the baby in the house and making sure I have my meals. Yeah, my kids that are always supporting, my mom and dad, just everybody, dude. I love everybody. So
you want to throw a happy birthday to your niece?
Hey, Luce, happy birthday on the 20th. I love you, girl.
I made sure he did it this time.
Yeah. So I almost forgot again, dude. I'm bad at this stuff.
Any upcoming birthdays you want to shout out?
I should have wrote a list and get them all so I don't forget them later.
Mike Jones needs a list for everything.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing strength conditioning. We got one guy there that I make him count all my reps because I mess it up. I'm like, you got 20 reps on this. And I'm like, hey, Breck, I need you, bro. Because if I'll get to like 17 and then I'll lose track, or I'll be like, shit, was I at 17? And then I'll do 25 because I don't want to like short myself, you know. Yeah. So I'm like, so now I got to count my reps too. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Any sponsors?
We're
looking for
sponsors.
So
I'll take any of the sponsors I can get. Getting Our Smoke On, that's my brother's barbecue company. He owns a food truck and he does pretty well. It's probably the best barbecue you ever eat.
Where's he traveling?
He's down in Price, but he comes up here quite a bit. He caters, he does weddings, he does
website
pop-ups. Yeah, so I know on like social media is Getting Our Smoke On. Yeah, so hit him up. It's great food.
They're gonna go there and be like, I thought you were getting our smoke on something else.
Yeah. No, it's some good ass barbecue. And then we got Damage Plan Insurance. Zach takes care of me. Nicked Wood Company. They're they custom cabinets and woodworking stuff down in Price. These does killer work. And I believe it's Nicked Wood, Nicked Wood Co. on social medias. And then Butler Auto. That's they're up in like Syracuse, or they're up north. So I don't know the exact time. It was Butler Auto. Like they support me a lot too, and so. Man,
yeah. See, there's a lot of room for sponsors on you. You're a good brand, and I think anybody that sponsors you is it should be a good fit, man. So definitely sponsor him. Reach out to him. Mike Jones 170 on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
Maybe not the easiest tag. 170? What's that?
Well, because I used to fight at 170.
But you don't fight at 170.
I know I'm 185 now, but I'm sure that's probably taken. I don't know if I can switch it. Maybe I'll try it. I think it's Mike Jones 170 because that was like when I made it. I was fighting at 170 pounds. So
Mike Jones MMA wasn't available?
No, Mike Jones anything isn't available. Like
dang, yeah. Do we have a middle name?
I don't know if I should use that, bro.
Jones.
Yeah,
that sounds like an actor.
Yeah. Mike Jones. Yeah, no, let's leave that one out. Yeah, I don't like that one.
You don't like?
No, let's leave that one out. Like,
wasn't that the fisherman? Something it's fish.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't said that one for a while. So we'll go ahead and just cut this. Yeah.
Go follow Mike Jones 170 on Instagram. Support him. Support Utah MMA. Big fight happening May 31st. UFC FFC 32. Joe Harrow, who's his opponent?
Michael Sear, I believe his name is.
And Eric Iman, and he's fighting
Vandera for the
heavyweight belt.
Heavyweight belt. There's some good.
Zeke's on there. He's fighting Cortez. Hopefully Cortez shows up.
Yeah, we'll see.
I hear Cortez likes to skip out. He skipped out on Eric. He skipped out on Kent.
I'm surprised Fierce is having him back. I don't want to give that guy a contract ever again.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But hopefully you show up, Cortez. We're hoping you do, because Eric's going to beat you up.
Yep.
Not Eric. Zeke. And Zeke is going to beat you up.
Yep. I'm ready for it. Zeke's my dude. I love that guy.
I love Zeke, man. I love all of our guys and gals in our community. I think that we're heading in the right direction, and hopefully more people. So here's my thing is, if you believe in something and you have an opportunity to support something with your talents, I say do it. If you're a photographer, you should be reaching out to these gyms, reaching out to the people. Hey, can I come take some photos of these guys working out at the gym?
Absolutely.
Can I do some video work? If you're a videographer and you love Utah MMA, just ask, hey, can I shoot a quick promo video? Do these things. If you're a podcaster and you want to help, ask these guys to come on your show, But also, we need the fighters to tell us what you need help with.
Yeah.
I
mean, any of that stuff. Like, I had a guy reach out to me to come do like a free video shoot to build his portfolio. And like, I love that stuff. Like, we can use more of that because it's just going to help my content. It's going to help you. I can get more followers. Like, that's how I'm going to make money for fighting, is if I sell tickets, I put people there. So
yeah, I'm going to tell Eric Iman that he needs to update his picture to get the grainy ass.
That's another thing is, like, when you guys take your fight pictures, go get it professionally done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't be sending these bullshit pictures. Like, it looks trashy on there. Like, I see some of them, like, come on, man. Like, just have a little pride in yourself. I know you're a fight, but this stuff's going all over. Like,
what's it called? 8-bit?
Yeah, let's look good look good, feel good, do good, man. If you're looking like shit on the fight poster, you might get beat up.
Hardman, we haven't seen you in a suit and tie in a while. What's going on?
No, take that away, dude.
No, we need the suit and tie. Hardman.
I told him the other day, I said, I was going to fight you at weigh-ins because he would do the suit and tie, and then I killed myself to get 170. I'm dying. Like, I just want to step on the scale, do my face off, and start rehydrating. We step off the scale. He didn't cut that much weight, so I am like, man, I look like haven't slept for 2 days. I've been on like a bender. Like my face is skinny. Like I've been smoking meth for 2 weeks or something. I'm just like, I am literally dying. He steps off the scale, and I'm just waiting to face off, and he's got to put his pants on. He's like button up his freaking shirt, and he's putting his tie in. I'm like, dude, hurry up. All I needed was his face off, and he's got to like button his shirt up, put his tie on, and taking his sweet ass time. I'm like, I'm gonna like grab that tie and just choke you with it. Like, I told him that the other day. I was like, I hated you for that. Like, I was like, take your damn shirt off and just let me rehydrate.
We need you guys on the couch. We need you guys to do do some type of content.
Yeah.
We're gonna make that happen.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Hardman, bring back the 3-piece suit, please. Make him even madder.
I might fight him at weigh-ins again, dude. I don't know. Not even fighting him.
At Drerawka, DRERAWKA on Instagram. If you want to buy a shirt, if you want to make a monetary donation to the podcast, help keep the lights on in the studio, because your boy's broke. I'm a broke podcaster from Salt Lake City, so help me, help you. Go buy a t-shirt, allrock.com, ALLRAWK.com. Was the I Love Violence shirts, is that yours? Is that your merch?
Jeremy Horn sells them, yeah.
What's your merch, though?
I need to make some.
Okay,
So I did make some for the bare knuckle one, and a couple fights before that. I need to be better at that too. So help me with that too.
Okay. All right. Y'all have the day you deserve. Always protect your light. We're out. Peace. I'm excited to talk to you, man. You're one of those guys that I root for, man. Like, I've been seeing you work for a very long time. I think I first caught onto your name and had to have been like 2013, 14, maybe. Did you used to do a lot of stuff with Jeremy?
No, so I've been with Jeremy for probably 3 years.
Okay.
And before that, I was like at the, back in the day, they had the pit elevated down in Orem.
Yeah.
So I started there really like.
Let's talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.